You are listening to Practical and Woo by Mindset and Manifest. My name is Eden, and I invite you to embark on a journey with me to explore the practical and spiritual edges of the unknown for the purpose of allowing you to embody and empower yourself uniquely as you are, and to intentionally create and live a life of freedom and fulfillment. Each week, I'm going to discuss topics such as energetics, reality creation, manifestation, astrology, tarot, human design, and more to help empower you to live beyond perceived limitations and to practically design your life so it feels like absolute magic every step of the way. Let's dive in. Well, hello, gorgeous soul. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Practical and Woo by Mindset and Manifest. Let me ask you something. Did you know when you speak to the universe, it speaks back? And actually, in my experience, I have noticed that the universe starts conversations with you too. For me, learning about the majestic communication skills of the universe and even the chatting abilities of your higher self, your higher counsel, your spirit guides, your angels, and whomever else is uniquely present is one aspect of the spiritual journey that excites me the most. I am suddenly getting an image of a little kid yelling, "Echo!" into the Grand Canyon and feeling so excited when the canyon speaks back. Honestly, I'm still that little kid and feel as equally lit up about these miracles of life. Yes, even the ones backed by science. It's pretty amazing to think. On days when you haven't had much human connection, there is something available to you. And this something, I might add, feels so magical. You are not alone. The universe is present for you wholly and completely. And the wonderful thing about an ever expanding and infinitely expansive entity is that everyone has the courtesy of building a unique and dedicated relationship with it because there is room and space and time for you to do so equally to any other being who chooses. So, for this episode, I thought it would be fun to highlight some of my most memorable stories interacting with the great cosmic force and to also outline some ways you can intentionally develop your own relationship with the universe. I recognize that this subject might feel a little obscure and a bit woo woo, and so I invite you to approach this episode with an open heart, to take what lands and to leave the rest. Breathe into it and let the wisdom of your heart indulge. As an infinite source, I have come to notice that constructing a relationship and developing a language with the universe begins with outlining the kind of relationship you'd like to have. Let me explain what I mean by this. Well, one of the features I intentionally cultivated with the universe was humor. I felt comforted in knowing the universe has a sense of humor, which means that so many of my experiences involve levity and laughter. One specific memory comes to mind. There was a period of my life when I was in law school when I felt this immense pressure on me. There were things that I wanted to have happen that weren't happening, and I also felt the weight of a legal education, which, if you don't know, can feel incredibly competitive and strenuous. At this point, I was already 3 or 4 years into my spiritual development, and I deeply enjoyed taking breaks by connecting to all that is. I remember it like yesterday. On my route to school, my hands gripping the steering wheel as I was just about to pull up to an intersection. I had yelled out to the cosmos with conviction and gusto, "Universe, just show me a sign." Moments later, I approached a red light, and a white truck drove past me with big block letters reading, "My signs." I immediately broke into laughter, and I could feel the tense muscles in my jaw relax into the implied message I had received in that moment, that I was being listened to, that things were happening behind the scenes, and that I didn't necessarily need to know what those things were. I was invited to relax into the trust and the faith and comedic relief I was provided in that moment. The universe and your energetic counsel can communicate in many different ways, and the features of that language are really up to you. It depends on what you choose to believe and what you choose to have faith in. Some examples of communication include through animals, through signs, symbols, sigils, synchronicities, your favorite songs on the radio, finding money on the ground, repeating numbers, and even through dreams. Really, the key here is feeling into the language you most identify and resonate with, and to establish what you feel are clear signs that you then commit to trusting when presented with them. For me, I hold the belief and intention that animals and natural things like trees and plants and types of flowers that appear into my life carry with them important messages from the universe. Even if those messages are just meant to brighten my day. Because of this intention and the appreciation I have for this form of communication, I am often presented with symbols of nature in my daily life. In 2017, I was on a trip to Italy with my family. I had just completed my final year of law school and was feeling so hopeful for the new beginnings that awaited me on the other side of this education milestone. I envisioned the things that I felt excited to create in my life. And also, I felt nerves, doubt, and anticipation. My energy felt like a motor car revving its engine and simultaneously starting to stall. I was doing a lot of wishing and wanting and planning. And in this state, it's always nice to have support from the universe. Flash forward to our stay in Tuscany. One night, sitting on a window seat and gazing into the future, I penned a couple of questions on a hotel notepad. Things like, will I find my way? How do I know this is working? The very next night, my family and I were waiting outside for my sister, and all of a sudden I heard a whoosh right behind me. And oh my goodness, I can't even begin to describe this sound. It was loud and booming. And then a black feather gracefully fell from the sky and landed at my feet. I still have this feather, by the way, and I use it for many different spiritual rituals and things of that nature. While I was bending down to pick up the feather, my mom called out that a peacock had propelled itself to a perch on the roof. And then a thought entered my mind. A peacock gifted me his feather. Now, whenever an animal enters into my life in subtle or bold fashion, I research its meaning to the nth degree. Googling the metaphysical, medical, not medical, Googling the metaphysical, spiritual, and symbolic meanings of the black feather and of the peacock itself. I did receive ample messages from the universe, messages that I am supported, messages to keep faith and to keep going, and many more on point messages that directly answered the questions that I asked. The universe works in mysterious ways. And when you can open your mind and your heart to the continuous messages that are asking to be acknowledged, you can develop a relationship with the universe that truly does help to cultivate the faith we so often need to continue on the path of creation. To trust that you have the power to create your world. And this takes faith, this takes courage, and this takes practice. And with a little bit of support, it can feel that much easier and more fun. Like the time my musician boyfriend and I found a guitar pick at the top of a mountain with the symbol of a tortoise on it. The chances of us having missed that gift from the universe were immense. I invite you to think about the size difference between a guitar pick and a mountain. This gift, I can tell you, offered a clear message about my boyfriend's passion and profession. And I can also tell you that we Googled the heck out of the meaning of the tortoise. We felt so grateful to the universe for communicating with us in this magical way. I feel curious to know, do you presently communicate with the universe? And when I ask this question, it is, do you presently and intentionally communicate with the universe? And if not, are you going to start? And if you do presently communicate with the universe, what language did you choose? What's a time you were excited to receive a message back? If you have any stories or shares, I would love to hear them. Whether you saw numbers, heard a song, saw an animal symbol, if you choose to share your experiences with me, let me know also if I can publish them, even if it's anonymously, because these stories help us all keep the faith in the things we might not otherwise see. Thank you again for listening. And who knows, maybe this episode is actually a sign from the universe. Until next time.